Welcome everyone. I hope you're doing well this evening. I know I am. I've been looking forward to this week. We've got a lot of stuff to talk about, and I hope you've been looking forward to it as well. Send your thoughts as we go through this. Again, this is interactive, and I'll try to keep up with the chat as it goes through. I can't promise I'll answer every one, but I certainly will keep an eye on that this evening. And as I do more of these, hopefully I'll get better at it. So again, thank you for taking time out of your day to be here. We'll try to keep it an hour and be respectful of your time. So here we go. So first of all, thank you to my current Patreons, Cygnus, Eric, Nick, and Bernard. And my top Patreon for this last week is Cygnus. So thank you, each and every one of you. You make this possible, and without you, this couldn't happen. Now, if you would like to become a patron, you can certainly do that over at my Patreon page. And you can also support through GoFundMe if you like these type presentations and you want to support the message. Please do. I use every penny of it to make this better each time. Also, I've started a Satanism and Devil Worship study group, and so you can go over to Patreon and check that out if you're interested in it. I'd like to start with a couple of recognitions this week. Several people have contacted me and they've said, "Hey, we're looking for something to maybe subscribe to, something that is real information, and what do you suggest?" So the first one I would suggest is the Devil's Advocates. So they do a written blog, and they blog about every week, maybe a week and a half or so. And there's three of them, Sophie, Cassie, and Leonie. And they've been doing this for a long time. In fact, they were the first people that I really was inspired by and started to follow over on WordPress back when I started my blog back in 2010, 2011, somewhere in there. But if you're looking for some good insight with their particular perspective, absolutely fantastic. Go over, subscribe. They work hard at this. If you've ever tried to produce content week after week after week for any type of social media or what have you, it is such a pain to get everything together, to make sure everything comes together. You're on a deadline, and these ladies do a fantastic job with that. So give them a chance. Also, Kendra Ravenmoon. I discovered her YouTube blog, and the first thing that really, I guess, drew me in was the way that she just presents information. And, it's very matter of fact. She doesn't dumb it down, but she doesn't put a lot of gloss on it to try to sell it. Everyone is trying to sell you something, me included, okay? But she's really down to earth in her approach. And I guess, has been an inspiration for me to kind of get back into this, because there are a lot of people out there like her that are doing this, and they do this week after week after week. and they put out some really good quality stuff, but they don't really get the recognition, and they don't get the mainstream that a lot of the top names get. So give her a chance. Go over, check it out, and she's got a lot of videos over there. Very, again, matter of fact, and I really, really like that. So, Kendra, hello. Carla, welcome. Reby, good evening to you. Matthew, sorry, watch the replay, absolutely. Maggie Moon, greetings. Thank you so much for joining us tonight as well. So next week, I am doing a piece on the black flame. So this was actually a special request by Wester Bobby, and he had put a couple of comments in, I guess, the first live stream that I did, and he wanted me to, to kind of give my perspective, or the perspective of our coven when it comes to the black flame. So that will be a week from today at 7 o'clock Eastern. And I'm planning on doing these on Sunday night at 7. So what I'll do is 1 week I'll do a live event, and then 1 week I'll do a canned event, if you will, where it's just me narrating. It may be a video or what have you of me, or it may just be a presentation with me narrating that. You let me know what you think. Put your comments down below, and let me know what works for you as far as time as well. I used to do my written blogs and put those out every Friday evening, and the feedback that I got is, hey, that's great, but Friday is not good. I like to go out. I like to do this, that, and the other. Saturday is really not good. So I'm kind of looking at Sunday. So you guys put in the comments or in the chat what works for you. And, hey, I'm free. So it's all good. Co-host Colby, welcome. Angel Ray, good to see you there. As well. Wester just mentioned you, gave you that shout out. And so, oh, okay. I'm not a guy, I am a lady. Well, there you go. You learn something every day. Either way, I'm doing this one next week for you, so you be sure and tune in, okay? So this week, what is magic and what is energy, and how do the two work together? Well, I guess what is magic is probably a question that's a little bit too big to try to answer per se in one sitting. But what I am going to do is talk about energy and the use of energy in magic. And there's a lot of misnomers out there. A lot of people feel like that, well, energy in itself is just that. It's just a force. You can't really control it. You can't do anything with it. All you can do is you can build it, and you can release it and dissipate it. I disagree with that. Energy and the control of energy is really what enables magic in itself, more especially what it allows you metaphysically and physically to alter your reality, and that's what it's all about. So let's jump right in. The Energy of Magick. So again, I put this in a PowerPoint presentation type format. You can let me know if this is, I don't want to do death by PowerPoint, but you can let me know if this is any good for you or what have you. But let's start by charging the words. Satanas excelsi, gloria et benedictio sit sentiti super thronum et viventi in secula seculorum. Acta non verba, so mote be. Excuse me, I've had a bit of a cold. Don't worry, it's not coronavirus, but it is a bit of a sinus thing. More green tea. So, Nikola Tesla said that if you really want to find the secrets of the universe, think about energy, frequency, and vibration. And I think those three things really sum up magic, or at least the operations of magic. Excuse me again. I'll try to make it through. I don't know if I will or not, but magic without understanding is without understanding energy is the same as aviation without understanding aerodynamics. It just really doesn't make any sense. Now we know that energy exists, and we can see energy in a lot of different forms. We've got all kinds of different energy, and one thing remains true. Excuse me again. With the types of energy. Hold on one second. Okay, again, I apologize for that. I'll try to make it through this as much as I can. I may have to take a break here in just a minute. But we have different types of energy that are around, and we see the effects of the energy, and we don't really see the energy itself. What we do see is what happens with the energy. I'm sorry. One more. So again, we don't really see the energy. What we see are the effects of the energy. We see like inertia. We see the effects of it, but we don't really see the force itself. We see lightning, and that's probably the most visual of energy that we see. But we see more of what the effects are. So we see the lightning bolt going through the sky. We hear the separation of the light at light speed when the lightning crashes. But we don't really see the energy itself. We don't see the static electricity until it actually discharges. In most instances, most people just rely on things as, I can't see it, but I know it's there. If I turn the switch on, the light will come on. If I turn the switch off, the light will go off as well. We have a lot of different references about energy, and some of these authors really do a good job and in their particular subjects. And building energy, like for instance, the animists. So the animists believe that everything has a spirit and has spiritual energy, and to some extent that is true. Everything can hold a charge, everything can dissipate a charge. Also, the shaman, they believe in energy and harnessing energy. And surprisingly, there's a good source, and it comes from a pope of all people, the grimoire of Pope Honorius. Now, Pope Honorius was a Catholic pope, and he wrote really a good grimoire, kind of under the guise of letting Christians know what's out there and what to beware of. But if you have an opportunity to take a look at this grimoire, it is full of energy building exercises, even sexual energy building exercises. So these are the things that separate us from the atheistic Satanists. For the atheist, all of this is really just mumbo jumbo. I mean, building energy, dissipating energy, magic itself, affecting change outside the greater or lesser magics that Anton LaVey spoke of, is really more about manipulation of the psyche and manipulation of a person, and being able to read that person and their reactions to certain situations to see if you're hot or cold on a certain topic. And so it's more about the psychology of a person than it is the magic. In my book, Sanctum of Shadows, I made reference to a grimoire that I received back in 2012 in Bavaria from my patriarchal coven. Excuse me. And the grimoire is called Silentium in Persona Diaboli, and we believe the original manuscript was written around the late 1400s. The one that I have was reproduced in 1962, and it traveled around different places in Europe and Eastern Europe, and ended up being bought by a collector, and now ends up in Munich, and that's where it's at. But in that grimoire, the statement here below is made, and translating that into English: believe in the unbelievable. This is a prerequisite of energy control. And I believe that's very true. It's very accurate. Not that you're trying to get someone to believe in something that is just, I guess, preposterous. However, you do have to believe in certain things that are going to happen, because when they do happen, you will either be taken aback and think you're going crazy, or you'll understand that this is all part of the progression, and that's just the way it works. So, Satanic Devotion, good to see you. Bloody Rose Witch, thank you. Thank you guys for being here. Tom R, thank you as well. Very good. Getting a nice group together. So I'm not going to read all this, but I put this in to show that we are learning all the time as humans in areas of psychology, the neurosciences. We're learning all the time. We always get to the point where we've got some expert, and he or she writes a paper or a book, and it's absolutely, the end all and be all, and we go down this road as a society believing certain things for a while until they're either proven or disproven by someone else that is doing research on that same subject. We're learning all the time, and we should, in the occult area, we should learn all the time. We should be looking out for new information, and we should try to vet that information the best that we possibly can. But we should always keep an open mind, because to close the mind off, what we become are really just academics. And the colleges and universities are full of those. And you could not convince them of any of this if they saw it themselves. They just absolutely, positively will not believe. And it's quite a shame, because some of the brightest minds in the world have just basically shut themselves off from any possibility of anything else except what they think. We also know that the brain burns calories. The energy in the brain, it's constantly working, and it burns a lot of energy. In fact, they say the ratio is more for cognitive actions than it is really in working your arms or legs or back or what have you. If you look at the percentage of calories burned, the brain is much more. It is absolutely, that CPU is an energy hog, and it's constantly wanting energy, more energy. And I point out here in this quote that when we're 5 or 6 years old, our brains scarf up 3 times the amount of energy as an adult. And that's because our brain is developing. And there's something that is really mystic that takes place around that age. Sometimes 5, 6, 7, 8 at the outmost, I guess. But that is when the cognitive identity through magic actually begins to happen with most children. They become cognizant and aware of their abilities. And I'm not talking about that they're different from other children. That may be part of it. But I'm talking more about they recognize that they are special with special attributes, that they can tell certain things or know certain things or see certain things that other people cannot see. So, Marie, Raven Soul, welcome. Glad you're here. Dark Angel 78, glad you're here. Creole Mulatto Witch, I'm sorry, I'll ruin the first part of that, but welcome. So glad that you're here. Now, we do know that sex is one of the most powerful ways of building energy, and as Kendra pointed out in one of her videos that I watched today, which was fantastic about her life and her background, she points out that, sex, yes, absolutely, but you don't necessarily have to have a partner every time. You are more than capable of pleasing yourself and building and heightening energy. And that's really what it's all about. We know ourselves sometimes a lot better than other people know us as well. But this is powerful, and it is probably the most powerful energy, as pointed out here by Hugh Urban, in existence. And it is a powerful way to create our reality and reform our reality as well. Now, if you think that this stuff is just mumbo jumbo. Well, here's as far, I guess, to the right or far in mainstream as you can possibly get. The CIA recently reduced or redacted some of these papers and released them unredacted, dealing with some of the reports that they did in some of the studies that the CIA did on the psychic processes. If this is all make-believe and child's play, someone should tell them, because not only did this take place, okay, this was declassified and released in 2002, but these studies are still going on by the CIA. They are just changed slightly from the physical to the more digital, but it's still energy flow, and it's still controlling the mind. So again, if this were not something that is usable, why did the government want to look at this information? Absolutely, Kendra, Michael Aquino, absolutely. He was actually in the military as well. Really, really good writer. A lot of really good information from the Temple of Set. And I actually cover some of that in next week's presentation as well. A couple of his quotes. Really good. Metaphysics is a type of philosophy or study that uses broad concepts to define reality and our understanding of it. As such, it is concerned with explaining the features of reality that exist beyond the physical world and our immediate senses. So we know this as magical practitioners. We know that are kind of caught in our 3 dimensions. Some people say 4 dimensions, and that's fine. And really, what exists outside those dimensions is infinite. It's not finite. And going outside of those physical boundaries is something that is really, to the magic practitioner, it's really paramount to learn to do. I've said before in my books and in these presentations that being able to gain access to the astral plane as quickly as possible is what it's all about. And so being able to get into that metaphysical and being able to build the energy and to enter into that astral nature, that is the money shot, so to speak. And that in itself is what allows you to go to different places, experience different things, and to learn different things through the gnosis experienced at the pinnacle of the body, and that is in the brain itself. I also have in my book, Satanism and Devil Worship, that magic uses cosmic metaphysical energy to change physical reality. And this energy is used because it exists everywhere in all environments. What I want to point out here is that energy allows you to turn from the physical into the metaphysical, not within the laws of our reality, okay? I'm not going to poof, turn into a plume of smoke and disappear. That's not the way this works. But what I can do is I can enter into that cognitive state that allows me to transcend those boundaries and to go across those boundaries into the astral. And that is, again, that's the important part, especially when you're looking for the gnosis and you're trying to understand more things, and you're asking your familiar or Satan or the demons in general, the hosts of hell, to help support you in that endeavor. You're going to have to interact with them on the energy level, not physical. The devil is not going to show up here with me and sit down beside me. If he does, be sure and let me know. But that's not the experience that I have had. And I certainly would not doubt that anyone else may have had a physical experience with Satan. I just have not. So for that reason, being able to understand the energy and be able to get that energy together and then move onto that astral plane, into that astral nature, is really what it's all about. Thank you for the comments. Thank you very much for those. Thank you. The ultimate metaphysical secret, if we dare to state it so simply, is that there are no boundaries in our universe. How true that rings. Just that one statement. So many people paint themselves inside their own boundary by not taking another step and not being open to the results of what they're doing. So they may perform a ritual and they may dance around and do this, that, and the other and light a candle. And then instead of expecting something to happen from that, they say, okay, I've done that. Now I'm on to something else. So understanding that you can paint yourself into these corners, into these boundaries, is very important. You'll want to make sure that you remain as open and open-minded as you possibly can, because I assure you, if you practice magic long enough, you're going to experience some things that other people would absolutely have you committed if you told the wrong person. But it's true, and it happens. And these experiences are as individual as each one of you are. The boundaries are illusions. That's all they are. They're a product of our background. They're a product of our society, of our upbringing, of our parents, of our relatives, of the school system. I mean, these are all things that do not promote the creativity and the open thought and the idea of possibility. And so, again, this is an illusion that you put on yourself. And while it's fine to map out the territory, it is fatal to confuse the two, that your reality and your map may not overlap. And you really want to understand and you want to believe that it will. And the return on investment for that is absolutely fantastic. We all see things differently. So, for instance, if we look at this Rorschach test, out of everyone that is in attendance, you probably get a different answer for what this is. And that's the way that we see things. That's our perception. And energy is no different. The way that you see energy and the way that you manipulate energy is going to be different for you than it is anyone else. Maybe just in the experience of it, but 9 times out of 10, your perception is what makes it unique to you. Sometimes magic is a riddle in itself, and it is something that you sometimes, even as a practitioner over many, many years, you have to kind of undo the riddle a little bit to try to understand what's happening and reflect on yourself and what your experiences have been, especially during a ritual. And that's why you have probably heard me say this over and over again. When you are finished with the ritual, you want to grab your grimoire and you want to write what your experience was, what your perceptions were, not just the mechanics of it, not just that you did this, you did this, you did this, but what was the perception? What did you feel when that happened? And you want to make sure that you capture that. Your grimoire is a living document, and it is a testament of your magical practice, and you should really treat it like that as well. Again, from Satanism and devil worship, energy is a universal force used to change reality. Cosmic energy is at the very core of human existence, and satanic magic is the all-important ingredient for all satanic processes. Increasing, storing, transferring, and dissipating cosmic energy is a complex methodology. Absolutely, of course it is. So let's break this down a little bit better here. So, on one side of this slide, we have the things that build energy. Sorry, need a little green tea. Thank you. Excuse me. We have rituals. We have alchemy. We have chant, esoteric and sinister chant. We have meditation. We have crystals. We have stones. And we have the objectives that we set out for. And through these mechanisms, we begin to build the energy. Well, when we build it, we have to do something with it. So we begin to store it, and we either store it for a longer period of time, or we store it in the interim so that we may use it, like perhaps maybe later in a ritual, the ritual where you're building energy. You may build that energy, you may store that energy in the temporal, and then you will use it when the time is right during the actual ritual. You control that energy. Again, the control of energy is important, and it's hard to learn. Controlling energy is well, to me, it was one of the hardest things to learn in my journey in this life. Being able to control it where it doesn't hurt you, it doesn't hurt the ones around you, and you're able to focus it and use it precisely when and where you need to. And then as you release the energy, you control the energy, you control or meter the flow of energy. In most cases, you don't use all of the energy that you've built at one time. You will dissipate that energy over a certain amount of time. However, there are some rituals where you will use the full zap, as they say, just like a zap with a taser. You'll use the full complement of energy that you have built. So, and then you recover, and in recovering from the event, you take certain protective measures, just as an aircraft flying through the clouds dissipates that static energy off the wings so that hopefully it will not be struck by lightning. The same thing happens here. You learn to dissipate that energy, and you learn to take that energy away, that buildup, that static, that remaining residual charge, and you dissipate that as well, where it will not hurt you or anyone around you. We also transfer energy. So in transferring energy, this happens at least in our rituals. Most of the time it happens as we are entering into the interplane projection, and that's what we call astral nature or astral projection. It's one and the same for us. That definition means something totally different to other people, and I totally respect that. It's building up, and you can build it in certain points, like the tattva points of projection. If you're familiar with the Order of the Golden Dawn, they use the tattva, and those are the symbols, and they're used a lot. We use them a lot during scrying, so that you can focus your energy from your third eye. You can focus on a certain point, especially if you're practicing in a group setting. And some of these rituals are not rituals where you stand and look at this certain point. We do have some rituals where we actually lie down on the floor together, and we have the symbol elevated above us, and we focus on that, and the black mirror is surrounding that symbol. And that's the way that we get into our state where we're ready to take on the energy, and we're also ready to begin preparing for the interplane projection. Seeking wisdom, again, I think I've said that before. That's what this is all about. We're seeking the power of the gnosis, and that happens in so many different ways, and those experiences are again, they're as varied as they can possibly be. Hail Satan, welcome. Satanic blessings to you as well. Now, I won't go too deep into the chakras. Some people say chakras. But there are 12 of them, and they're used in the higher satanic magic processes. And there are 7 body chakras that we recognize that are physical, and there are 5 metaphysical chakras. And synchronicity is what ties these together. It allows you to be able to use these in the physical and the metaphysical, tying those together. So this is kind of my interpretation, the way that I see this happening. And again, you can leave some comments, or you can drop a chat in there, about what your thoughts are. But in building energy, you have those chakras there, and those chakras, they conduct energy, and energy flows through those, up through the body, down through the body as it's going up. Some people may recognize this as the Kundalini, the serpent, as it will, the coiling serpent that comes up through the body, as represented by the symbol here. And then as that energy is going up and down through the body, and even out into the ground, or up higher into the metaphysical ether, we're also using the chakras to help facilitate that. Now, one thing I'll point out in this energy flow is that there are certain constraints, and there are natural constraints, and I won't go too deep into the different constraints, but what I will say is there is one that is similar to what is referred to as the Venturi effect. in dynamics. So whether it is pneumatics or hydraulics or aqua dynamics or what have you. And there is a point where you have an area of high pressure, and then you squeeze that high pressure into a low pressure area. And what happens is the pressure decreases and the speed increases, and as it comes back out the other side, it will begin to build up pressure as well. Where this takes place, squeezing this large amount of energy into this smaller area, is called a constriction. So this constriction is a constraint, and these are most common in the physical chakras. And like for instance here, if we have a chakra that is blocked or is constrained to some extent, then what's going to happen is it's going to slow that energy flow and the energy that you've built up. It's going to slow it down, and it's going to cause it to either stop or go up through the certain chakra. And again, this is happening in the physical mostly, but it can also happen in the metaphysical as well. So as that process takes place, if you were to have a blocked chakra, then probably what's going to happen is you're going to have an undesired outcome. Probably the least serious of these is that you're not going to be able to build the energy that you need for your magical operation. But there are also some other things as well that can be affected, and these are real, true physical ailments that are caused because of this, the blockages and things like that. So energy, the chakras, and health, they all work hand in hand. We are energy creatures. Our brain is full of energy and uses energy and burns calories even as we're sitting here. And they're all intertwined. You cannot separate one from the other. And when one is out of balance, you're probably going to have the others out of balance. It's just like a tire or a wheel that has a balance in the wrong place, and as it spins faster and faster, the momentum of that is going to cause something catastrophic to happen. And magic is no different. So if that was too long, you can just cut to the chase here. So to sum this up, magic involves building, storing, controlling, releasing, and dissipating of energy. To be proficient at magic, you have to really understand energy, and you have to understand not only the concepts of it, but it has to be understood in a demonstrable part, so that you can actually cause those things that are theoretical to actually take place. Energy flows through the chakras, and again, we are all energy beings, and if we have constrictions or contained energy that is not able to flow to another area, it can cause a lot of serious physical ailments and even disease and things like that. You have to have healthy energy flow, and that will lead to obviously the undesired outcomes themselves. So again, if you want more, again, I'll say that we have a Satanism and Devil Worship study group, and certainly free to join that. So let me check on a couple of the comments here. Stevie, welcome. Deadman Animations, welcome. Unholy blessings to you as well. Tom R., I think I mentioned you earlier, but if I did not, welcome. Good chat going on here. Really nice. You know, I think that we need more events like this that are done by the community, because there's a lot of disinformation out there. And you know, as Kendra said during a live stream event that I attended last night, you know, there are a lot of young people that are thirsty for true knowledge and wisdom, and they're being suckered into these lies. And so I think it becomes a responsibility for all of us in the occult arts to provide a mechanism where they can get some real information, and information they can use as well. So the question came up this last week, am I going to do a weekly live stream? And right now the answer is no. Right now what I'm looking at is every other week I'll do a live stream. I think these are beneficial. I hope you like these. You know, it's something that you just kind of throw out there and you see if people really like it or not. So I'll just kind of leave it at that. What I will do is every other week I'll post some kind of topic that you know, that people feel is important. So right now, weekly live streams, no. I had a question about the Satanic Priest course, and is it available? It is. There's only one left. If you're interested in that, there is one left, and you can certainly come and be a part of that. It does result in a certificate from Magnum Opus, so I'll leave that up to you. Also, when is the Book of Satanic Ritual audiobook coming out? So, as you know, if you follow my posts on Twitter, I submitted that book. We finished that thing up now back I guess it was maybe the first week in August. And I know that Audible is a little backed up. When you go into their landing page and you log in, it says, you know, expect 30 days and this, that, and other. But, you know, it was well over that. And I contacted Audible and asked them, and they just basically said, well, it may take more than 30 days. So I really don't know when that book will be released. There's an interesting thing, and I don't know if other authors experience this or not, but in some of the mediums where you publish things, it seems like anything about the occult, Satanism, witches, whatever, it seems that those are like the last things on the list that get their quality control check, or they get formatted for distribution or what have you. It seems like that happens. Now, that may just be my experience. The last two audiobooks that went in for quality control check, they were turned around fairly quickly. You know, it was probably 2 weeks or so, or 3 weeks. But, you know, sometimes I guess, you know, depending on who is doing the control check, they say 30 days, and then you'll get it back at the end of 30 days, and they say they need some changes. And then, you know, you go in to make the changes, and there are no changes to be made. They meet their specification, and my team has been very, very diligent at doing that. I've only had one book that was bounced back, and you know, their claim was not true. So I went in, I made a quick edit and basically said the same thing that I said originally, and guess what? It went right through. So I don't know. Maybe it's just my feeling, but we'll see. Whenever it's released, you know, I will certainly let you know. But again, I'm not sure exactly when that is. And as always, I need to give a shout out to my distributors and thank them for making these things available and providing this information, because without them, there would be no way that that this message could get out there. So, and just reviewing the chat, thank you again for all of your comments. Thank you for being here. Let me know what you think. I try to answer all the comments in these. It will take probably a couple of hours to get the live event actually posted where people can go back and look at it. But let me know what you think. I mean, are we doing something good here, or are we just wasting our time? You know, let me know, and you know, we can adjust. Also, let me know if presentation type thing, you know, if PowerPoint is something that gets the point across, or if that is like death through 1,000 paper cuts. So just let me know. And with that, we've got about 2 minutes left. And again, I'll use those for another quick review here. The Devil's Advocate, if you haven't written down this this address, go ahead and do that. It's really good information. And then Kendra's as well. And thank you, Kendra, for being here. Thank you for the support. And thank you for everyone that attends these events. And until next time, this has been Aleister Nacht. Hail Satan.